Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a fantastic day. As always, leaving a like, leaving a comment, leaving 2 comments, hint, or subscribing. All of these things help out the channel's algorithm a lot. As always, I am not, nor have I ever been, a professional financial advisor. Please understand that especially when I'm talking about cryptocurrency related investments, these are all hyper speculative, so always keep that in mind. And yeah, let's jump right into it. This is, first of all, thank you for the likes and the comments and the support on the other VV-based videos. I've headfirst into that market as far as collecting NFTs and especially on that app. I personally believe longevity-wise, they probably have one of the best chances of being around for a very long time, especially with all the partnerships that they have. We've gone over that before. So today I'm going to be talking about the top 5 comics that I personally am stacking. I don't like the term hodl. I don't care for the way that it sounds. What I'm buying the most of on the app. As always, I'm going to try and have images popping back and forth, side to side, just to... Even on this one, I'm going to try and show you how many of each that I actually currently have, because I've been buying a lot. Without further ado, the first one is the first appearance of Moon Knight. The name of it's Werewolf by Night number 32. I think I'm correct. It's fairly noticeable because it's Moon Knight punching a werewolf on the front cover. So I was like, oh, that's clearly Moon Knight. A lot of these comics. Now here's the interesting part. I scour the internet as many other people do, and I try to see not what the trends are, what people are saying about things that are going to be released. And I've noticed that a lot of these things that have been released on VV recently, also tipping my digital hat to them, they stopped releasing what I refer to as garbage. A lot of the stuff that they've been releasing on the platform is just bad. I mean, Storm getting into an alley fight, the Fantastic Four getting married. What was the other? I mean, the Hulk wearing a hat, I think it was, or something. Just really terrible comics. Everything that they've been releasing thus far for the last couple of months have been first appearances. And they've also been very significant first appearances because of those of you who have not really realized, especially with all the Marvel-based TV shows on Disney+, they've moved into this new kind of era, if you will, for the movies. This isn't even a spoiler, it's like 4 years old at this point. You realize the other storyline kind of came to the end with the whole Thanos theme. And everyone who, at the end of that movie, either got really old or kind of hung up their cowl or their cape or their shield, and they were like, okay, now the younger generation can kind of take over. No one said it that way, but that's just kind of how it was. So you see all these new characters being introduced who are extremely popular in the comic book world. But once again, as I stated before in another video, with Guardians of the Galaxy, people don't really understand, not the significance of these, no, that's it. The significance of these characters, and that these are being, like, these characters aren't getting their own TV shows on Disney Plus because Disney's like, Moon Knight sounds good. I think we're gonna make a TV show about that. No, like these characters are being introduced in this way and have 7, 8, 9, 10 episode seasons so you can get to know them because they are going to be in the next 7, 8, 9 years of Marvel movies, at least as this current iteration, because most characters tend to have someone else who takes up the mantle or who puts on the suit or who, whatever the actual case might be. Moon Knight is he's incredibly popular. When this comic was released on VV, I think I literally held my breath because it's one of those moments. I check Twitter often, usually typing in VV to see exactly what's going on. And I saw the top of I could see the first couple of words and I was like, there's no way that they're releasing this. VV, is only releasing garbage at this point. And then I saw it and I was like, are you joking? And I told my friends, and my friends aren't into comics. Hello, friends. I mean, they're not into comics at all, so I usually try and like nudge them. I'm like, hey, this is a pretty big release. You should try and get it on the drop. And then I don't know if they even got it or not. Hello, I hope you guys ended up picking it up. The point is, Moon Knight is gigantic in the comic book world. He's a huge fan favorite. There's a reason why he got his own TV show. It's kind of like an extra test to see how popular he's going to be able to put him into the movies. But we know that he's going to be put into the movies. The same exact. Now here's another hint. There's another comic on VV. It's not on my list as far as what I'm stacking. There's another comic that has the first appearance of I think it's called the Black Knight. And the guy from Game of Thrones, Jon Snow, is going to be playing this character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well. And I was like, I wonder if anyone caught on. These aren't random drops anymore. They correlate exactly to characters who are going to be in the movies. And I think the really interesting part is that it's probably going to take some of these characters anywhere from a year to 3 years to actually plop up into a movie. And I think that's going to be the point on VV where people go, oh my gosh, I have to buy this comic, but they're all going to be gone. Sorry for talking so long about this one point, but I have to really bring it home. If you've been paying attention as well, here's a really big, crazy point that a lot of people aren't even talking about. Look at the sell walls on VV. You may see one day a comic is going for $17, and then it goes for $16.98, and then $16.80, and you're like, oh gosh, the price just keeps on dropping. Pay attention to the actual supply at the top. How many of them are left for sale? When I talked about the next comic a couple of months ago, there were, I think, 1,000 available for sale, and the price was around, I think, 120. And since then, the price has fallen to around 70, 80 or so for the common. And I've seen so many people like, oh, the comic is garbage, it's trash. But it reminds me so much of the cryptocurrency market where people only want to buy as prices are skyrocketing. No one pays attention to the dropping supply of Bitcoin, the dropping supply of Ethereum on the actual market and on cryptocurrency exchanges. They only see the current daily price and they're like, well, no one's buying. No. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next one just so you can actually understand exactly what I'm talking about. The point is Moon Knight. I don't know how many that I currently have. You're going to see either here or there, wherever I have space. The image is going to pop up so I can show you exactly how many of each that I have. Keeping in mind, I'm probably planning on doubling my exposure, if you will, to these comics as well. Like, these are so undervalued. The fact that some of these, at least to me, the fact that so many of these comics are on this app for and I'm going to say dollars for gems, $4, $5, $7, like $7, $10, 10 cents above drop price. Like, do you understand? Some of these comics are selling for tens of thousands in the real world. I think there was just a record for a 9.8 Moon Knight. Was it 60,000? It's just insane numbers, and people on VV, you can't know about comics explicit. I get it. Maybe you didn't grow up with comics. But I'm like, a lot of these drops are not accidents. They're going to be, they're already gigantic in physical form, and the actual digital versions, the supply continues to drop every single day. Anyway, Moon Knight, that's number one. The second thing that I'm going to be, and I mean, I've already been doing it, stacking up on is, and I know I spoke about this character 1,000 times, is the first appearance of Miles Morales. You have to understand the significance of Miles Morales. Please do so. I mean, if you need another YouTube video, because I don't want to have like a 45-minute video just me explaining Miles Morales, of the significance of him and how popular his character is and where he is going to be. His comic books are already selling for thousands, ungraded. He hasn't been in anything. He's been in one, that one digital cartoon movie. And I think he's made one or two other appearances on another like animated TV show, but this isn't him like actually in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. These shows are for younger people. They're not for the entire general audience of people who are going to movies, and these movies end up making billions of dollars. When Miles Morales months ago when I was talking about it, you could see the supply on VV was roughly around 1,000 comics left. That's it. Edition size, 30,000, only 1,000 left for, back then, 2 million people on the app. And I sit there, I'm like, you gotta understand exactly how significant that this actually is, but only comic collectors do. Since that has happened, the price has dropped, as have many other assets around the world. We know what's going on. Alas, the price has dropped from around 120, 100, 80, and now 77, I think the last time I looked at it, like a day or two ago or something like that. The supply available to people went from 1,000 editions to, I think, 248. My friend looked at it, sent me a screenshot and was like, what's going on? What's happening? And I was like, exactly what I told you what was happening. The whales have figured out how to put explicitly perfect sell walls and buy walls to make it seem like no one is actually interested, because if all you're looking at, which the majority of people are doing, is just that the price, you go, well, prices are dropping, I'm not going to be buying anything, which is also the craziest thing in the entire world. Do you remember sometime last year, 2 years ago, sorry for screaming, about 2 years ago, when Ethereum was a couple $1,000s, everything collapsed because of the thing that happened at the beginning of 2020. And I think Ethereum fell down to $200 or $300, and I was nudging my friends. I was like, hey, do you see the price? And everyone was like, yeah, but the market's really low. There's no energy. And they're like, this is when you buy. These are the moments when you have to buy the things when no one else is paying attention to it, because that's where all the really good money comes from. If you buy something for 7, it's probably going to go to 17, probably going to go to 25. Same exact thing with Moon Knight and with Miles Morales. I personally, when I look at even just momentum in the comic book world, comic book buyers and collectors are already on the app. For those of you who don't know, Vivi hasn't advertised yet. Have you noticed that? There are no Vivi ads. There are no Vivi Instagram ads. There are no Vivi TikTok ads. They don't advertise yet. At some point this year, when Immutable X happens, when MTL happens, when OMI to NFT and NFT to OMI and all these other things take place this year, as we've been told, they're going to begin to advertise. And that's when millions of other people, this 2 million plus people on the app right now is just word of mouth. Just word of mouth. Your friend sent you a screenshot of something, of how much money they made from something else, and you got onto the app. You watched the YouTube video. I'm not affiliated with Vivi. I'm not advertisement. Think of when they actually begin to heavily, they're partnered with Disney, Marvel, and DC, and so many other companies. Imagine when they're like, okay, now it's time to actually make money. How much these things are going to be. The point is, the second comic I'm going to be stacking up on is the first appearance of Miles Morales. He's already one of my, I think, if not my favorite superhero, I think, on the planet at this point. It's Miles Morales, Iron Man, and Batman. And Iron Man and Batman because I like the realistic aspect of them. I like that they're just simply rich and use their rich money to give them suits and armor and stuff like that. They don't have any real superpowers per se. At some point, I think Iron Man in the comic becomes a little mystical, but that's another thing for another. Anyway, yes, Miles Morales, second thing I'm going to be stacking up on because I think the price is a little bit too low. The third thing is What If 105. We went over this before, I think about a video or two ago. It is the first appearance of Spider-Girl, Mayday Parker. I think she's going to be in something. Explicitly. Like, there's no, the comic book in physical form, I think when a lot of people look at the prices on eBay as well, they see, oh, well, the comic is only selling for $400, $500, $600, 9.8, it's only $900. Those are huge amounts. If we even get a relative percentage of that in the actual digital form, if they sell for 90 or 180, that's a huge movement from the $4 where it was selling at like a day or two ago. She's already a major character in the comic book. She's been thrown around in the comic books multiple times. They're still doing this really weird, people have been taken from their universe and plopped into our universe kind of thing, and she's still very popular. What if at some point, once again, I think at some point she's going to be in a What If episode. She's going to be thrown in as, what if Peter Parker had a daughter? And it's probably going to take off. At this current price, I'm aiming for trying to accumulate over 100 of them, being completely honest with you. People were asking before, I saw a lot of comments in the comment section. It's a lot easier for me to say it here as opposed to replying to the other 35 comments. I collect all rarities. That's usually my first goal. I make sure, of course, that I have the common and the uncommon. Like, the common is usually the most iconic image of said character. However, especially now with prices as low as they are, I make sure that I also get at least one super rare. I think at least one or two ultras, and then kind of from there, I just kind of keep stacking the lower the price goes. But yes, there are maybe a couple of comics on here. I have a couple of secret rares, like multiple secret rares, because I'm like, I know this character is going to take off. And I've seen before with other secret rares when the market was really at its peak before, some of these things were selling for 7, 8, 9,000, like on the, and those were like the crappier ones as well. Like these are actual major characters who are going to be introduced into Marvel in some sort of way. So for a lot of the secret rares, for the comics that are still super low right now, this is me personally, I'm expecting them to go anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000, and that's not unbelievable because once again, you can't cash out on the app. You can't put money easily onto the app. Has anyone else been paying attention to, I can't use it because I'm not in the States. Has anyone been paying attention to, it's called Hero, H-R-O, the other NFT platform that just recently launched where it's DC releasing like cards, literal cards, not even comic books that you can read like on Vivi. And some of these things are selling for 3,000, 8,000. There was a Riddler card that sold for 18,000 and I was like, if you look at Hero's website space app, you can buy things in ETH. Vivi is already on Immutable X. Imagine when they add, you can buy things in OMI and in ETH. Very quick movement, same exact thing as OpenSea. I think a lot of these things are going to explode in price on Vivi. This is why I think you see a lot of whales or even just normal people who are stacking like crazy right now because the prices don't make any sense. When I first got into Vivi, it was August 2021. I think that's the time frame. I remember it was hot outside. I was wearing shorts and I was like, oh, it was really warm. Me and my friends checked the app that same exact day. It doesn't matter. We were checking the app and I remember the Amazing Spider-Man #1 was on there. And I was like, whoa, they got Spider-Man #1. This is crazy. And I think it was $4. 4 gems. 4 for the common. 4. And I was like, I don't know if this app is really going to take off. So I think I bought like 3 or 4 of them. And I was like, I'm probably fine. I think it went up to like 7 gems and I was like, I'll try and buy one more. It went up to 15 gems and I was like, 15, it was 4 before. I don't want to spend that much money. So I bought what? I think I have like 11 or 12 in total, somewhere around there, because the price went up to like $150 for one of the commons and it went to $400 and I was like, why did I not buy more when it was $4? I refuse. I will tell you this right now. I refuse to make that same mistake again. I refuse. I personally believe, this is my opinion, the comics that I'm telling you about in comic form, in common form, COMMON, I'm expecting them to at least hit $100 as the supply continues to dwindle. At least. I refuse to be left behind anymore in this space, especially when I believe that these things are going to really make it. So my goal, I don't know how many, if it's popped up for the amount of 105s that I have, I'm aiming for over 100 of them. And at that point, if I see that the price is still, 5 gems or something like that, I'm probably gonna try and aim for at least 20 to 30 to 40 more of them. Just being honest with everyone out there. The fourth thing, my gosh, is Marvel Spotlight #5, the first appearance of Ghost Rider. Once again, it should be popping up exactly how many that I currently own. Ghost Rider is an incredibly popular character. He will be for a very long time. There have been many different iterations of him, but his original one is expected to be thrown into the Marvel Universe very soon. There's the normal Ghost Rider, someone else takes up the mantle, and then there's like Cosmic Ghost Rider, who's also becoming very popular in his own right, but he's relatively new in the comic world, so I don't know if he'd be thrown into a movie anytime soon. This is a major book. All of these, except for What If, that is the most speculative one. Marvel Spotlight 5 is gigantic in the comic book world. I remember when this comic book became really, really popular about 4 or 5 years ago in the comic space, and I couldn't find it in English. So I started buying it in Spanish. I think I bought some in Italian and some other language. You can even go onto eBay and like find the prices for these things as well. It's a major book. It's huge. And once again, it's just because simply people don't, a lot of the comic book world is not on Vivi. I think a lot of people are still relatively skeptical of the idea of things being digital. But then you kind of think, I'm not standing in front of you right now. You're watching me digitally. People send money on their phone digitally as well. I think it just takes time for these things to kind of enter people's heads, the idea of a digital collectible. But as we see more metaverses expand and they're all interconnected and built on top of Ethereum, yada, 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 This will become completely commonplace. Everyone, well, of course you have a digital collectible because it has value. So when VV begins to advertise and we see more and more people jumping onto VV because they're actually advertising, I think the platform is going to explode. Just completely. I think a lot of people are looking for places to put their money, and a lot of times when they look at NFTs, they may not feel comfortable because they go, well, I don't know what this is. I don't know what an ape is. I don't know what this so-and-so is. But they know Disney, they know Marvel, they know DC, they know a lot of the other artists that we've been talking about before, and it kind of becomes a bit easier for them to get into the market because they know these things. Ghost Rider's huge. He's going to be gigantic. There are rumors of him being in the next Doctor Strange movie. So, like a cameo. It's meant to be the most cameoed movie ever made. And it's suspected that he's going to also have a cameo in there as well. So, we will see. But I'm going to be buying more. I don't know how many I have at the current moment, but I'm going to be buying. I mean, it's Ghost Rider. I don't know how to put that into any other words. And number 5 is NYX number 3, the first appearance of X-23, Wolverine's daughter. She's incredibly popular in the comics. She was incredibly popular in the movie. I'm expecting her to be thrown into something else. The comic is worth, like the physical comic is worth a lot of money. Like it's really, they're quite scarce, as people say. And not, I mean, I can't keep rambling about every single comic. It's a major comic. The fact that this is still 4, 5, 6, 7 gems. I think I have 1 or 2 of the secret rares as well. I think I have every single rarity thus far. But I'm stacking on the commons because the common, once again, is the most iconic image of said character, like the most recognizable one. But I'm also expecting the secret rare at some point to go above 8,000, between 8 to 12,000. I don't know why these numbers pop in my head or how I'm coming to this conclusion. It's more of a, I tell my friends to always do the scroll. Like literally the actual, like you're scrolling on your phone. When you're on VV and you look at how many editions are left of any given comic, do the scroll on your screen. How long does it take you to get to the bottom? A lot of times, a lot of the secret rares that are available for 2 million people, there's only around 30 of them left. If you scroll once on your screen, you get to the bottom. Like you get to the last one that's available for 2 million people. And I tell my friends that means, in essence, it takes 15 people to get us to around an $18,000 secret rare. And if we have OMI to NFT and Ethereum to NFT, for those of you who've never been on OpenSea before, it's kind of a wild place. People go, $18,000 is nothing. And they buy it up immediately. This happens for a lot of secret rares. Pay attention to the secret rare version of First Miles Morales. Do the scroll. Scroll down once, and you hit the bottom very, very quick. And I think the last one is on sale for like $1 million or something like that. All it takes is another whale-like event that we had in January. Remember when prices went completely insane and everything was leaving the app very quickly? It's still leaving the app very quickly, but prices are falling. What happens when Miles Morales is introduced into the cinematic universe? Because he also has his other new animated movie coming out at the end of this year. What does it take? 12 people to get us to a $35,000 common? What happens if he's really popular in the movie? And then we find out he's getting his own movie just called Spider-Man, and it's just going to be Miles Morales. And that does very well. And he has other cameos in the Avengers and these other things. And then we hear about Spider-Man 2 is coming out. The secret rares are gone on the app then. This is you. Try the scroll. It's going to drive you insane because you'll realize exactly how few of these things that there actually are. I told you a very big secret. I've been telling my friends to do the scroll for a couple of months now, and you can see the major difference in prices because at some point people are still buying the other ones that are listed. Anyway, yes, 5th one is NYX number 3, first Wolverine's daughter. She's going to be in something. She's also still in the comics. They're also still together and fighting together, father and daughter, pa 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 pa. Very popular. Here's a bonus one. Inhumans number 5. The first appearance of Elena Belova. I don't know how this happened or who started this terrible, terrible rumor. I was looking around. I always gauge to see, once again, what interest is, to see if people know what's actually happening. There are a couple of places I think that people go to on Twitter for their VV drop information. Is this to buy or is this to sell? Am I holding this or is this to give away? Yada, yada, yada. I saw an enormous amount of people. I thought they were doing like the whole like a 1-2 switch. Oh yeah, it's totally a sell, but I'm gonna be buying it. That's what I thought was going on. But a lot of people were like, this is definitely a sell. She's not a, what was the word? I forgot how they referred to her character, but it was something along the lines of kind of like garbage. And I was like, do you guys know what Inhumans 5 actually is? This comic became really popular about 3 or 4 years ago when the Inhumans were kind of spiking in interest amongst the comic world because people believed that they were going to get their own movie. I think they also were going to have their own TV show, but the movie idea was very popular. Like the first appearance of the Inhumans was also going up very high on eBay. People were like spiking every single day. I also bought it in multiple languages. Cool, whatever. So the idea was people were trying to figure out who were actual Inhumans. The idea being that in the comic book world, there are mutants and then there are Inhumans. I don't know why they made the distinction. Sure, why not? And people were like, maybe Elena Belova is going to be one. That's when we got news that there was going to be a Black Widow movie. And people were actually looking at the casting and they were like, is she going to, why is she wearing that costume? It was the costume for the new Black Widow. They call her the White Widow sometimes. She's referred to still as the actual Black Widow. People put 2 and 2 together and went, oh, the old Black Widow, not to be mean to her, she's getting up in age. And most people like to see superheroes who are in their 20s. That's kind of, you want to grow up with them, if you will. Elena Belova is huge. She's gigantic. She's super massive in the comic book. She's also very popular. I think the comics are only selling for 200, 300, 400, depending on the actual grade, but she's still very, very popular. Who started this rumor? And my point to be made, so I can finish this off, my point to be made is that anytime that any other, and I mean terrible, crappy comic was released on VV, you would tend to see, in an edition of 30,000, when you would go into the actual, you would click the comic, and you can see how many of them are actually left. It's always roughly around 1,600, 1,800. Even for the first What If 105, first appearance of Spider-Girl, there were 2,000 editions available, and that quickly slipped down to 1,200 and 700. We've gone over that before. The first Elena Belova, who is the new Black Widow, I think there were 2,000, and I was like, wow, people are really selling these. And then it went up to 2,300, and then 2,600, and I think there at some point was like 4,000 of them for sale, and I was like, people got lied to really hard on this one. Because once again, they were buying the first Fantastic Four wedding, the Hulk wears a hat, this person skipped to Target, and those had 400 left, and I was like, but so the point to be made is, I recently bought, because I saw the price was still very attractive, two secret rares, 2 or 3 ultra rares, and I'm planning on buying at least 50 to 60 of the commons, at least. There are a couple of other drops coming out, like the actual collectibles. I also collect a lot of the collectibles that I'm kind of waiting to drop as well, so I'm kind of saving my money to be able to immediately purchase those. For those of you who have not seen the Black Widow movie, I saw a lot of people online, of course, discussing that they did not care for the movie or it was very boring. A lot of people, and I'm going to call you out right now, a lot of people have problems with female leads or female main characters or an all-female woman movie. Stop it. You sound ridiculous. The movie was actually really fun. There's literally a part, I think they're in Budapest, where they're on top of a building that's like 5 stories tall. They're fighting. They fall to the ground in dirty water. Both have concussions, and they get up and continue to start fighting. It's a really entertaining movie. The point is, if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. If you have Disney Plus, go watch it, or find a friend who has it and go watch it with them. It's a really fun action movie. Yeah. Elena Belova is the new Black Widow. Spoiler. And she's going to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for a while. These characters aren't simply like thrown into the air and go, oh, maybe we'll put her into a movie. No, she's the new Black Widow. Sorry, I was recording for too long and the camera actually cut off. So alas, here we are. I forgot what I was saying. The point is, yes, there are new characters for every single thing. There's a new Spider-Man, there's a new Black Widow. For those of you who haven't seen, we're getting a new Thor in the next movie. Look that one up. There's a new Captain America. There's new characters of all these new things. There's also a new Iron Man, for those of you who don't know that. There's a new Captain Marvel. These are the new iterations who we are going to have for the next 7 or 8 years. So yes, of course, as always, do your own research and kind of put the dots together. But I personally believe these comics, they're 4 gems. It doesn't make any sense for major first appearances of characters. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I was kind of shocked when the camera turned off. I was like, what's going on? I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.